once upon a time, in a forest by the edge of a magical land, two young friends were playing. They ran through the trees, chasing butterflies and laughing as the sun began to set. Suddenly, they heard a soft, whinnying sound coming from behind a large oak tree. Excitedly, they rushed over and found themselves face to face with the most magnificent creatures they had ever seen. Winged horses. The horses were glowing with an ethereal light, their wings rustling softly in the breeze. "Can we go on a journey with you?" the children asked eagerly. The leader of the horses nodded his head slowly, then took off into the starry sky, followed by the others. The children climbed onto the backs of their new friends, feeling the softness of their fur beneath them. As they soared higher and higher, the forest below began to look smaller and smaller. They flew past the moon, leaving a trail of sparkling stardust in their wake. Soon, they were beyond the clouds, looking down at a world unlike anything they had ever seen before. They saw mountains made of chocolate and rivers of lemonade, forests filled with talking animals, and cities built entirely out of candy canes. They visited magical kingdoms and met friendly dragons, all while riding on the backs of their winged horses. As they flew through the starry sky, the children learned that anything is possible if you just imagine and believe. Dreams really can take you anywhere. Finally, it was time to say goodbye to their new friends. The children hugged the horses tightly, promising to never forget this magical night flight. With one last wave, they soared back down to earth, landing softly in their own cozy beds, feeling warm and safe. Good night, little one. Sweet dreams of flying high with your friends. Maybe someday you too will go on an enchanted adventure, all by just closing your eyes and believing. As they flew through the starry sky, the children saw many wonderful things. They visited a land where it was always summer and played in fields of rainbow-colored flowers. In another place, they found a lake filled with sweet-smelling bubbles that they could swim in and float on. They even met a friendly mermaid who showed them her underwater kingdom and taught them how to swim like fish. As the night wore on, they grew tired but didn't want their adventure to end. Their winged horses understood and took them to a place where they could rest. It was a beautiful meadow filled with soft grass and colorful wildflowers. The children laid down on their backs, looking up at the stars as they drifted off to sleep. They felt safe and loved, knowing that they were surrounded by their magical friends. In the morning, they woke up feeling refreshed and ready for more adventures. But alas, it was time to say goodbye to their winged horses. The children hugged them tightly, promising to never forget this incredible journey they had been on together. With one last wave, the children soared back down to earth, landing softly in their own cozy beds. As they drifted off to sleep, they dreamt of flying high with their new friends and all the amazing places they could go if only they imagined and believed. As they soared through the endless night sky, the children saw many more incredible sights. They visited a land where animals could talk and even fly. They met a friendly dragon who taught them how to breathe fire safely. They flew over a rainbow-colored waterfall that glowed with all the colors of the spectrum. They even visited a magical castle made entirely out of cotton candy, where they tasted the sweetest treats imaginable. But eventually, the first signs of dawn began to appear in the sky. The children knew it was time to say goodbye to their winged horses and return home. With one last wave, they soared back down to earth, landing softly on the same spot where they had found their magical friends. As they walked back to their homes, still a bit sleepy, but filled with amazing memories, the children realized that anything is possible if you just use your imagination and believe in magic. They hugged each other tightly, promising to always remember this incredible journey they had been on together. And as they drifted off to sleep that night, they dreamt of flying high with their new friends, exploring the worlds beyond their wildest dreams. Good night, little ones. Sweet dreams of adventure and magic await you. As the children walked back to their homes, they were filled with a sense of wonder and excitement. They couldn't wait to tell their families all about their magical adventure. But for now, it was time to rest and dream of flying high once again. In the days that followed, the children found themselves thinking about their winged horse friends often. They imagined what it would be like to visit them again in their enchanted world filled with endless possibilities. One day, as they were playing in the park, they heard a faint whinnying sound coming from above. Looking up, they saw a single bright star twinkling in the sky. Without thinking twice, they closed their eyes and wished with all their hearts to see their friends again. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves standing on top of a hill overlooking a vast forest. In the distance, they saw a glimmer of light flickering between the trees. With renewed energy, they ran towards the light, eager to embark on another magical journey with their winged horse friends. As they entered the forest, the children felt a sense of familiarity wash over them. The air was thick with magic, and they could almost feel the excitement building inside them. Suddenly, they heard the sound of soft footsteps behind them. Turning around, they saw their winged horse friends, waiting patiently for them to join them once again. With a smile that lit up the night sky, the children climbed onto the backs of their new friends, feeling the softness of their fur beneath them. As they soared higher and higher, the forest below became smaller and smaller, and the stars seemed closer than ever before. They visited places they had never seen before, met creatures they could only dream of, and explored worlds beyond their wildest imagination. Through it all, the children learned that anything is possible if you just believe and use your imagination. Finally, As the first rays of dawn began to appear in the sky, the children knew it was time to say goodbye to their winged horse friends once again. With one last wave, they soared back down to earth, landing softly where they had started their journey. As they walked back to their homes, still a bit sleepy, but filled with amazing memories, the children realized that the magic of their adventure would stay with them forever. And as they drifted off to sleep that night, they dreamt of flying high with their new friends, exploring the worlds beyond their wildest dreams.